Hi, welcome to Tai Chi for Body and Mind Health Level 3. In Level 2, we covered the first 11 movements of the 24 Yang style form. And in this level, we will be covering the movements 12 to 24. In this session, we will begin like we always do with our warm-up, or what we refer to as our joint opening exercises to alleviate the tension throughout our body so that we go into the form relaxed. After the warm-ups, we'll do maybe a couple of breathing exercises, and then we'll move on to a review of the Tai Chi walk and the first 11 movements of the 24 form. In this class, we will learn the 12th movement, which is called High Pat on Horse. Let's get started. Okay, so let's start by remembering that we're going to be stepping shoulder width apart. So when we're stepping shoulder width apart, just remember, look down the side, or your hips in alignment with your feet. So if you're up too wide, you're going to see you don't have that alignment. So you want to make sure that you're not standing too wide or too narrow. And remembering too that we want to make sure that our knees are always over our toes. So we don't want our knees to collapse inwards. So make sure that your knees are always over those toes. And also when we're turning, not to pull your knee too much in one direction. You don't want to put any stress on your knees. Okay, and we're going to sink into our stance when we do our exercises. Remembering back to level 1 and level 2 that when you sink into your stance, you're going to visualize that you're sitting on a high stool, sinking into a high stool or a high exercise ball. So just sinking down. And you can sink down as far as you're comfortable. You don't have to go too far. And remembering, you don't want to sink so far that your knees are going to go over your toes. So sinking down into your stance. And we're going to start like we usually do with the top, going from the top all the way down, just opening up those joints, relaxing our muscles, and preparing for the form. We'll also add in a few breathing exercises as well. Okay, so let's start with our neck. We're just going to drop down our head, and we're just going to roll back and over to the right side, looking back and up, or the left. It doesn't matter which side you start with, but it does matter that you keep your shoulders down. So when we're rotating, don't bring your shoulders up like this. Just keep your shoulders down and relaxed. So looking back and up, and back and up. And we'll just do this 3 or 4 times. Excellent. Okay, and we're just going to shake our hands. Just shake those fingers loose from your wrist. Shaking. And then we're going to flick out. And some of you will recall that when we did this exercise in previous levels, this is to activate memory. So it helps if you forgot something, just to flick your hands out, fingers out, I mean. There we go. And then from our elbows down, we're just going to shaking the forearm and the fingers, and then your shoulder. Just let everything go loose. Your arms. Excellent. Then we're going to just swing our forearms. Alternating. And then a whole arm. And you can just kind of gently, a nice little bounce side to side as you're swinging your arms forward. Excellent. So a lot of our tension is held in our shoulders, our neck area. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this exercise to help alleviate that tension. And I believe we did this exercise in level 2. What we're going to do is we're going to bring our hands forward, palms facing down, right over left. And we're going to pull in. So we're going to bring our elbows in. Our shoulders are going to go, you can feel our shoulders go back, and then we're going to come forward, palms up, and then open up. So you'll get into the rhythm of this. Open, and then down, open and out. Palms down, pulling back, Excellent. You just kind of do this for a minute or two. We'll just do it for a minute here. Great. Excellent. Okay, so now we're going to go to our waist, and remembering that it's the waist that will direct the movement in our form. And so we do lots of exercises for our waist and our hips. And what we're going to do is we're just going to let our arms go loose. We did this as a warm-up for both level 1 and level 2, just letting your arms go loose. Now, when I'm turning, don't turn so far that you're going to pull on that knee. Just turn as far as your waist takes you. If you want a bigger turn, you can always pick up your heel. Then you can get a bigger swing around and you don't need to worry about pulling on your knees. So whatever you're most comfortable with. Just letting your arms go loose and turning. But let the waist do the motion. Remembering too that when you're standing shoulder width apart, that your feet need to be parallel and straight ahead. So don't have your toe pointing in a different direction than your knee. Okay. What we can do is now we can add in just a light fist and just underneath your collarbone as you're turning, just hit underneath there, activating the lungs. Just gentle tap. And we can go to our shoulder, just relieving that tension, in your shoulder. And again, just turning with your waist. Great. Now we're going to just shake, like we're splashing water on our body. Shake. And you can turn as you're shaking. Turning at the waist again. Giving the internal organs the massage. Taking the fists and the small of your back, just rubbing. Giving your kidneys a bit of a massage. Excellent. Okay, let's do some for our balance, and also just to open up our hips too. So we're going to sink down, picking up that leg, and then just opening up your hip. Now you can just slide it over if you want, opening up and down. So sink right down. Remember, it's sinking down into the earth, not sitting into your hip, sinking straight down, keeping your eyes level. If you need to hold on to a chair when you're doing that, this is fine. Just making sure you're keeping your root. Great. You can also kick out when you're doing this. Open up and kick out. Sinking down, opening up and kicking out. Great. A lot of these exercises we're doing for our warm-up today are exercises we've covered in the other levels. We'll add a few new ones as we go along. So let's try a hamstring stretch. So we're going to put our heel out. Okay, this back leg, you'll notice is my foot is on an angle. And then we're just going to bend forward from the waist, keeping your head upright. And you'll notice that you'll feel this pull on your hamstring. And you can just go down as far as you're comfortable. So if it starts to hurt, come up a little ways. Okay, and then on the other side, same thing. Bending down, trying to keep that back straight and up. You're going to just do that a few times. Excellent. Rotating from the knee down. So I'm sinking my weight and I'm rotating that knee. Again, you can hold on to the chair or the wall or whatever. Just make sure that you keep your root. You can always touch down too. You need to. And in both directions. Excellent. And then for your ankles, toes pointing up on my heel, and then touch down with your toe. So heel, toe. And then the same here, heel, toe. Great. Now we're going to do 2 exercises. They're breathing exercises, but they're also really good stretch as well. So we're going to start out with one that's called Wild Goose Reaches for the Sky. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to open right up. And as we're coming up, we're going to come up on the balls of our feet if we can. If not, that's okay. Just reach up like this. But if you can, on the balls of your feet, reaching up, breathing in, and then coming down, exhaling. Breathing in and exhaling. One more time. Excellent. And we're going to do another breathing exercise called Separating the Clouds. So we're going to start with the left hand over the right, palms facing down. And we're going to come up, breathing in, turn your palms out, reaching up, and then when you sink down, exhale. So left over right, coming up, pushing out, and exhale. Great, and then just shaking out a little bit. There we go. So those are our warm-up and joint opening exercises for this session. And we're going to move on now to a review of the Tai Chi walk. We'll look at that. And then we'll review those first 11 forms before we go into learning our new form. Let's review the Tai Chi walk. So first, before I start doing the walk, I'm just going to review with you the bow stance, because that's what we're walking into, the bow stance. So remember, our back leg, in this case it'll be my right leg, is on a 45-degree angle, and then the left leg is going to be, remember, we don't step, when we step out with the Tai Chi walk, we don't step out straight ahead. We visualize that we're sweeping out so that you have that nice distance between your legs and you're really stepping shoulder width apart all the time. So you're not too wide and putting extra stress on your knees and not too narrow, which will be difficult for you to keep your balance. So we're imagining that we're sweeping out as we step, so that we're in the shoulder width apart stance. Now, if I was to straighten that back foot and bring my leg back, you'd see that there I am, I'm shoulder width apart. So that's how you can kind of test it out if you want at home. So my weight's on the right, I've swept out to the left. Now what we're going to do right now is we're just going to practice that feel. So at this point right now, I step straight out with that left leg straight out. My knee and toe are aligned. So I'm not like this, right? I step straight out. The back foot is rooted to the ground, right? You never lift it up. Make sure it's rooted. 70% of the weight is forward, 30 is back. And what we're going to do is we're just going to practice turning from side to side. So at this point, when I'm back, now my nose, knee, and toe are all aligned on an angle here. And then when I come forward, I come forward to the front. So I'm just practicing this motion. Back and forth. Sitting back, and you want to make sure that when you're sitting back, you're not overextending, you're not doing that, right? Sinking straight down, coming forward. Excellent. Okay, so that's the motion. So when we're stepping, remember we're sweeping out, heel goes down first. Then as my foot is starting to plant down, I start slowly rotating to the front. Okay, then to get onto the other foot, remember my weight goes back first, the heel picks up at the front, and it kicks out to the side. Okay, we'll do that in just a minute here. Okay, so just reviewing how we start. And remember, it's a continuous motion, so it takes a while. We don't want to stop and start. It's a continuous motion. Stepping out, planting the foot down, and rotating to the front. As that weight is, the majority of the weight is coming to the front. About 70% of the weight, 30% still in the back. You don't lock that knee at the back. Make sure that you have that nice slight bend to the back leg. Okay? Okay, I'm going to now walk towards you and doing the Tai Chi walk, and then I will turn around and walk from the back. Okay, so now let's begin. So I'm going to begin by putting my weight on the right side, sinking my weight down, and remember sweeping out with my left. And now I'm on an angle here, but now I'm slowly, and you can even put your hands up to feel that motion. So now majority of my weight is forward. Go back, kick out that front foot, and I'm an angle to the left now, stepping out right, and I rotate to the front. Kick out that right foot, step out left. Remember, you want to feel like you're really rooted down into the ground. At the same time, you're suspended upwards. So you don't want to jut your head out, right, or drop your head down. Keep your head up. One part moves, all parts move. Really important in Tai Chi. That's one of the main principles, is everything moves as one, mind and body connected. Okay, I'm going to turn around and do the Tai Chi walk from the back. So I'm starting again, weights on the right. I'm going to hold my hands up, but you can hold your hands on your hip, whatever you're most comfortable with. But just so that you can start feeling that rotation of your waist as you transfer your weight. Stepping out, coming to the front. Weight back, kick out the foot, and then step out. Heel, as you're planting your foot down, you rotate to the front. So this is the part sometimes people forget. Once your weight's here on the front, in this case the right leg, I put my weight back, then I kick out that foot, then I step forward with the legs, your left. Weight back, kick out, then step straight out ahead. Not on an angle, straight out. Weight back, step out. Great, and you'll get into a real rhythm, trying to stay smooth and fluid, not bobbing up and down, and continuous. That's a short review of the Tai Chi walk. And by doing that review, it'll help when we go into the form, because that's the walk that we take with us when we're moving forward. Now I'm going to review the first 11 movements of the 24 Yang style. I'm going to start at the beginning. I will talk you through, and also I will name the form as we're going along. After that, then we'll move on to just learning one new form this session. Okay, so here we are. We're in a beginning stance. Remember, our feet are together to begin, and we're thinking about preparation for the form. Really important. And each session I may not spend very much time talking about this, but this is really an important time because you don't want to go into the form holding a lot of tension, right? You know, wherever you're feeling tension, just remember that you want to try to breathe into that tension and then just let it release and sink back down to where it belongs. Your body wants to be in its alignment, but a lot of times we hold our tension, sometimes for emotional, psychological reasons, right, whatever, or because of an injury. So you just want to exaggerate where you hold that tension and just release and let it slowly go back down, find its home. Okay, So we're going to start with preparation. Like I said, remembering this is when you're thinking about your alignment, your structural alignment. So you're going to have that visualization that you're being pulled up like by a sky hook at the top of your head, right at the crest of your ears, right at that point, and your chin will tuck in slightly, keeping your tongue on the roof of your mouth, having the spaces in between your arms and your fingers, and not being constricted by your clothing at all, so wearing comfortable, loose clothing. And as far as footwear, remember, you're fine with whatever works for you. If you've got good arches, then you don't even need to use shoes. But if you are in need of orthotics, it's a good idea to keep your shoes on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sink my weight down. And remember, again, when you sink, you're imagining that you're sinking into a high stool. And all the weight's going to start on the right. And then I'm going to step out with my left toe shoulder width apart. So when I stop, I'm stepping out shoulder width apart, transferring the weight and sinking. Now, at this point, I am 50-50 with distributing my weight. And this is really the only time in the form, this and at the ending, where you'll have your weight 50-50. The rest of the time, the weight is distributed 70-30, 80-20, or you have all the weight on one leg or the other. Okay, so here we go. We're sinking down. As far as you're comfortable, just being careful that when you sink, you don't sink like this so that your knees are way over your toes. Otherwise, your knees are going to start to bother you. So sinking down, keeping those shoulders down. And we're going to visualize that somebody is pulling our wrists up by string. Our arms are being pulled up as we come up. Not locking your knees when you come up, keeping those shoulders down, palms out, and then the strings are on your elbows, pulling you back down as you sink back down into your stance. Excellent. Then the right hand comes up. We're going to hold a ball. Remember, when you're holding the ball on the right hand's high, left's underneath, and your palms are aligned. I've turned my body slightly to the right, so I'm not like this, but I've turned to the right. I'm holding a ball on the right, but I'm not like that over here. Remember, keep your hands in front, but they're going with your waist as you turn. Okay, put your weight on the left, pivot that right foot. When I say pivot, I mean pick up your toes, your upper part of your foot, and pivot on your heel. Then place your weight on your right. And now I'm ready to step out and part the wild horse's mane. So remember, part the wild horse's mane. The hand on the bottom is coming up, the other one's coming down as I'm rotating to the front. So it's like you're parting the horse's mane. I turn over, hold the ball left, step out right, right comes high, left comes down. Weight goes back. We do 3, left, right, and left. Part the wild horse's mane to the left. We end with our right hand down near our hip. Left is up at eye level, palms in. Then I turn my left palm in, the right is underneath on a diagonal, step back right. Right comes high, left's down at my hip and on my toe. White crane spreads its wings. This is an empty step. There's no weight in the front foot. In the back, I've got my weight on the right, so I should feel it in my thigh. And remember, keeping that structural alignment, not leaning back or leaning forward. The tendency is to lean back when the weight is on the back leg. And now I'm going to brush the air. Step out, brush left knee, push with your right as you're coming forward. Now the weight comes back. The right hand's going to go with that left foot down. The left comes up, step out, brush right knee, push left. Now the same thing. Left is going with the right, step out, brush left knee. Then we step forward, half a step up, and another empty step. So remember, you're stepping out and back, sink, play the guitar. We're on our heel. We're opening up. So I turn to the right slightly. I step back, out and back a bit, not directly behind. So I'm pulling back with my right, pushing with my left. Repulse monkey. We do this 4 times. 3 and 4. One more time, pulling, pushing. Now the right goes on top, left's underneath. And then I go into ward off to the left. Remember, ward off is that nice circle in front of your body. Your right hand is behind, just there to protect. Then you turn palms over to the left a bit. Then I sink back, turn, and I come forward with my press. My feet are staying stationary. Break off and push. Remember not to overextend when you're pushing or you're pressing. Weight back, and I pivot around to the other side. All the way around. That's a tricky pivot. I'm holding the ball left, and then I go into ward off right. And I roll back. I do the same thing on this side. And press straight ahead. Break off and push. My palms go down. I pivot that right foot to the front to go into single whip. My weight comes back to the right, making a hook, and step out, single whip. That palm turns out. Then I'm going to put my weight back on the right. Right comes down, left comes up, follow across, step in right, follow the right hand across. This is wave hands like clouds. We do this 3 times. This is the second time. Keep your shoulders down, elbows down, lower than your wrists, 3 times. So stepping, following, when your weight gets on that left, pick up your right. After the 3rd time, you make a hook, and then you go and do another single whip. Remember, with single whip, you're stepping you're stepping out wide, so you're back in your bow stance, and turn that palm out. Keeping that shoulder down. Your whip can be quite high, but you make sure you keep the shoulder down. Keep the curves to your body. That's how far we went with level 2. I'm going to show you the first 11 movements from the back. Okay, I'm going to call out the movements as we go along. This is commencement, sinking down. Part the wild horse's mane to the left. Part the wild horse's mane to the right. Part the wild horse's mane left. White crane spreads its wings. Brush the air. Brush left knee. Brush right knee. Brush left knee. Play the guitar. Repulse monkey, pulling back and pushing. Hold the ball, ward off left, roll back. Press, break off, and push. Protect your body and pivot around. Ward off to the right. Roll back. Break off and push. Palms down, single whip. Wave hands like clouds. 3 times. Single whip. I'm going to show you high pat on horse. I'm going to show you from the front and then I'll turn around and show you from the back. So we're going to go from movement 11, which is single whip. So we're in this stance here. Okay, we have our hook. Remember, your thumb is behind your fingers, shoulder down. This palm is turned out. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to step half a step up. And when we step back, we're going to open up our hands. So we're like so, we step back, open up. And when you step out and back, remember you go toe first when you go back, stepping out and back, sinking your weight. And now this right hand's going to start coming in, right forearm's coming in. And as it comes in and I turn to the front, my left comes in and my right goes out. So it's that motion. I'm here, I step up half a step, step back, open up, and now I'm going to rotate to the front, all the weight's on that back leg, and I'm going to turn to the front, and as I do, my left toe comes up, all my weight's on that back right, and the right comes out, left comes in. High pat on horse. One more time. So I'm stepping up, step back, right comes out, left comes in. Okay, so this foot is available for a shin kick, knee, and this is coming right in. And this one would be pulling, a pulling motion to pulling back. Okay, so from single whip, one more time, step up, weight back, open up, turning to the front. High pat on horse. I'll do it from the back now. So here I am, I'm in single whip. That's where we left off. The second single whip, movement 11, going into movement 12. So I'm stepping up, step back, opening my hands, the palms turn up, weight's on that right, pulling your left, and I'm turning, so I'm square to the front. Remembering when you're in this posture, you don't want it, because all your weight's back, you don't want to be leaning. So just imagine that there's a rod pulling you down from your buttocks down, so you keep that structural alignment. Don't drop your head down, keep your head, so you're going to feel really, you should feel it in your thigh right now. They should be burning. We're going to do a short closure now. This session we've covered high pat on horse, and next session we'll cover 2 new movements. One is kick with the right heel, and the next movement is box ears with both fists, or just box ears. Okay, so let's stand shoulder width apart. Just relaxed, and we're going to do 3 breaths in, bringing up our hands as we breathe in. Visualize that we're taking in all that positive energy we've generated, and just imagine just washing that through as we're taking out the stagnant chi energy through the bottom of our feet into the earth. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Thank you for joining me.